If you are selling a home in the state of New Jersey, it's important to know what closing costs are involved and what you can expect to pay as a seller. So today we're going to meet up with Pamela Lee at Agility Title to talk all about the seller's closing cost. And I'm so excited that you're here, and let's tell all the sellers who are thinking about selling their house in spring what they can expect on a closing day. What kind of fees should they expect?
And that comes to mind first is the transfer tax, right, which is 1% of, about 1% of the purchase price. And that number is actually, you could calculate it, but ballpark about 1%.
Okay.
And then there's the out-of-state tax, meaning if the seller lives in a different state but has this property in New Jersey and is selling it, then that's an additional 2%.
Okay.
Now there's another fee, and if the owner is a foreign citizen, that's an additional 15% of the purchase price.
Okay. So let's do an example. Say a person is selling who lives in New Jersey, and it is their only home and they're downsizing. And say it's $800,000 for this house, right? And they're leaving to go to Florida.
Okay.
What kind of, I understand, there's broker fees, and then there's the attorney fees, but do they also need to pay for title fees for the buyers?
Yeah, no, they don't have to pay any title fees. The buyer purchases the title policy. The owner should look for their title policy to help expedite the search process.
Okay.
So that is one thing that the seller should keep in mind, to look for their owner's title policy. But they don't have to pay for another title search.
They don't have to pay for another title
or
search?
another title policy.
Okay. At what point does the title company come in to help out the sellers?
It's actually only when we have to confirm wire instructions. If the sellers are getting a wire for their proceeds, we'll have to verify that the information that they provided on the sheet that has to be filled out and signed by hand matches what their bank account, so that we make sure that the proceeds go to the right place.
On the closing day, I congratulate them that your house is closed, and now they're wondering, when am I going to get my proceeds?
Yeah. So if they come to closing, they can pick up a check right away. Otherwise, a wire will go out once the file has funded, meaning the buyer's bank has approved that everything went well. There's no walkthrough issues to be resolved. So as soon as that is all done,
All the contingencies has been met.
right?
Okay.
Then the seller can get their wire as soon as the closing happens.
So would you say within 4 to 5 hours they should receive their proceeds?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Hopefully it's earlier in the day because
Yeah.
there is that wire cutoff time, but yeah.
Does the seller have to be present in order for them to sell the house on the closing day? Do they need to come to the closing?
No, they don't. All they have to do is get their sale docs signed, which is their deed, they call it 1099, and some other forms. That can be, so let's say they live in Florida, they get a Florida notary to notarize those documents, but the seller's attorney, and hopefully your seller is using a real estate attorney, will draw up those documents for them, and they just have to sign and get it notarized and send it in.
We have to make sure that if any of the sellers are watching this video, this only applies to the state of New Jersey. So if you're selling a house in Washington and California, some of these policies don't apply.
Yeah.
They don't only apply to New Jersey.
Right.
What other local policies do we have, like such as HOA fees? Are you guys holding on to any fees or extra money that the seller should expect back?
Right. So HOA fees will be, sometimes it's paid at the beginning of the month, right? And then the sellers move out mid-month. That amount is prorated.
Okay.
So whatever they've paid already will go as a credit to the seller's proceeds and a debit from the buyers. So it'll be split properly. Same goes for taxes, property taxes.
Okay.
So sometimes the whole quarter is paid up front.
Right.
So the sellers pay up until obviously the day that they close, and then so whatever was paid extra will be credited back to the seller.
So they're not overpaying for property tax,
No.
overpaying for HOA.
Right.
Okay.
Everything is prorated to the day.
It's so, I've worked with you so many times, and it goes without saying, but there's a lot of work that's being done behind the scenes, right?
Right.
And with working with a good company like a title company, you can expect a smooth transaction, right? I know a lot of hiccups can happen, but you guys are on top of it.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything else you want to add to what the closing cost can look like in terms of how do you simplify it? Can you give a percentage of what they can expect on what the closing cost might be?
Oh, I don't have that for you because it varies so much,
Okay.
but they can reach out to their seller's attorney,
Okay.
to help calculate those numbers. And then you can reach a title company to get those numbers for the sellers as well.
Okay, great. I think this information is going to be really helpful for a lot of the sellers.
Yeah, I think so too.
Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah,
Bob.
thank
So to sum this up, these are the closing costs for sellers. Agent commissions. Real estate agent commissions usually run between 5 to 6% of the home's sale price. Number 2, transfer taxes. Sellers also pay New Jersey State transfer tax, which equals 1% of the home's sale price. Property tax and HOA fees. You're responsible for paying property tax and homeowners association fees until the sale closes. These costs, they're usually prorated at closing time. Seller's concessions and wire transfer fees. If you agree to pay any seller's concession, for example, paying HVAC repairs, the cost will be deducted from the home's sale price at closing. And regarding wire transfer, when you pay off the remaining balance on your mortgage, it will be wired to your lender, and there may be a wire transfer fee involved.